Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in this new series I'll be going over a guide on the Linux Daily Driving Challenge. Linus Tech Tips has made, I guess, a trend really popular, which is people switching to Linux and like a daily driving challenge of Linux. You know, we're going to try to use Linux as a daily driver, and it's a gone show. There really isn't a lot of guides on from zero to hero on Linux, so pretty much I'm going to take you from an absolute newbie that knows nothing about computers to an absolute pro, somebody that knows how to use Linux, how to use computers, understand how computers work, everything like that. So before we dive in, there's a few things you need to know before you switch. First of all, are you on a laptop or are you on a desktop? If you're on a laptop, make sure to Google what type of laptop you have and see the Linux support on that. If it's a Dell, Dell's pretty good with Linux. I think also Asus is pretty good. I think MSI is fine, but you need to be careful on, like, if you're trying to switch to Linux, what you're trying to switch on. If it's a desktop, generally most of the time it's completely fine. Just Google the type of motherboard you have and see if it runs Linux well, if it plays with Linux nicely. If it doesn't, then you're kind of screwed. But with laptops is really it's kind of annoying depending on the brand. Dell's good, Asus is good, I think MSI is good. Haven't had a problem with my MSI motherboard running Linux, so it should be fine. Just make sure to do a little bit of Googling. Just Google your laptop model, and then after that does it run well with Linux? And then people will have, like, you know, Reddit threads and stuff like that on whether or not it runs fine. Another thing is you need to find out your motherboard model. Now, the reason why you need to know your motherboard model, which I'm just going to go to my PC screen right here. No, I'm not actually running Windows as a virtual machine. So, well, I am, but I'm not. This is Linux right here, as you can see. So if I can actually type, there we go. There we go. There's Linux. So you guys can see. I should uninstall NeoFetch and get fast fetch instead, because that's a little bit dead. But you need to know what type of motherboard you have, because you need to know how to boot in the BIOS. If you already know you have an Asus or an MSI or Gigabyte, generally if you just Google, you know, Gigabyte how to boot in a BIOS, they just give you all the keys right there. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Not really hard to find that out. But if you just don't know at all, let's say you got pre-built, if you hit Windows, hold the Windows key down, press R, you need to type in msinfo32. Click OK, and it will bring this little window up right here. Now, this will tell you everything for your system information, but we are interested right here on the baseboard manufacturer and baseboard product. This will tell you the manufacturer and the product, the type of motherboard you have. Now, since I am running this in a VM, it will just say VirtualBox and Oracle. So, yeah. So, pretty much, you need to know what type of motherboard, what keys you need to press to boot into the BIOS. I'm going to be showing you guys all of that in this video. It is not hard to do. So, pretty much we're going to go to our browser. Since this is just, I know Edge is trash. Edge is a trash browser, but I don't care. This is Windows 11. It's crap anyway. So right here we need a few things. Now, before you create bootable media for Linux, you need to have 2 or 3 USBs. Now, there's a reason why we need 2 or 3 USBs. If you have files and stuff you need to back up, make sure to do it now. As soon as you install Linux, everything on the drive will be wiped. It'll be gone. It won't be there no more. Nothing there will exist. So, make sure to do that. Secondly, for the second USB, we are going to make a backup of Windows 11 right here. The reason being is creating bootable media of Windows 11, or really Windows on Linux, is a little bit annoying. So we're going to make a bootable USB of that. And then the second USB, or I guess the third USB, I should say, depending on your use case, is a bootable media of a Linux distribution. So to explain what a distribution of Linux is, nobody owns Linux. It's open source, meaning that you can make changes to the code. Someone else can make changes to the code. You can fork those changes into the main Linux kernel and make improvements, which is how Linux improved so quickly, is because a lot of people just out of their free time decided to, you know what, this can be improved, I want to have this. Or I noticed this in the code. This is actually reducing performance, so I'm going to change it, which actually recently happened twice with the Linux kernel. For server side, and also gaming performance is about to get a massive increase on a lot of Linux distributions, which is great. I like it. I like performance. I'm pretty sure we all do. So yeah, Linux is the kernel, and then from there people have built OSs. So there's popOS, which is what we're going to be using in this tutorial right here, is popOS. There's also Bazzite. Bazzite's another really good Linux distro if you like gaming and you just want a just works distro. But popOS is really good for starting because it is in between, like you get those power user features, so like window tiling and that stuff, and I guess multiple workstations and stuff with keybinds and stuff, which I know Windows is starting to implement, but it's done in such a poor way that nobody really likes it. So that's why we're going to pick popOS. So in this whole entire series, we'll be using popOS. So depending on the distro, it will vary. Now you can pick whatever distro. I'll be using the same commands for other distros, so I'll be mentioning everything for other distros. So firstly, you need Rufus. So I recommend the GitHub page. It will be in the pinned comment down below. So right here is Rufus. The reason why I use Rufus and not Balena is a little bit buggy. So I just use Rufus. So pretty much you just go here, and I'm going to teach you guys how to read GitHub repositories. So right here it will say about, and this is all the uncompiled stuff. This is all the code on the actual program that you're getting. And then if you scroll down, this will tell you everything about it, how to compile it. So if you just want to compile it from source right here, so if you just want to download all these files and then compile it to yourself, you can, if you are that paranoid about looking at, code and make sure everything is fine and doesn't have a virus. So compile it. There's also additional information. However, we're not going to compile this. We don't need to. We just go to here in releases, click on this. And right here, Rufus. So we have Rufus, and then we have Rufus P. This is portable. This means that you won't be installing it directly to your system. You can just run it, and it'll just, it's portable. You can put it on a USB and just run it. So we're going to download that. I think I already downloaded it. I have. Okay, cool. I've already prepared for this video. That is surprising. Next, Windows 11. Go down to an ISO, select an ISO, select multi-edition. And it will tell you a bunch of things about like what you need, like your compatibilities and stuff. Yeah, all that stuff. So you click download now, and it'll just validate your request. Choose your language. English, and then click confirm. Even if you're not in the United States, if you're used to QWERTY, use this one. I accidentally used on my grandma's laptop. I actually put it as the British keyboard. Yeah, it just kind of messed a few things up for how the keyboard works. So if you're used to United States keyboards, like if you're in Canada, yeah, make sure to pick United States. Click on confirm, and then it will process the request. Of course. Oh, well, did it ban me? Wait, product language. Did it actually ban me? Okay, yeah, it's because I have a VPN on. Leveraging anonymous or screw you, Microsoft, you suck. Lovely. So then after that, you download it without a VPN. Screw you, Microsoft, you suck. Right here is popOS. Now, if you really like popOS, you can donate to Pop. You can donate right there, if you want to. Yeah, so in downloads right here, this is where you got to pick. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, remember that thing that we entered. Oh no, it's Windows R, not Windows F. I'm pretty sure you can find your GPU here. It might be in display. Yeah, adapter. This will tell you your driver that you use and all that stuff. So if it says NVIDIA, it's going to be NVIDIA GPU. So right here, you need to know what graphics card you have. So if you have a NVIDIA GPU, download this one. This has the NVIDIA drivers pre-installed, so you don't need to go and install them yourself. This is critical if you're new to Linux, because installing NVIDIA drivers is annoying if you're new to Linux. So yeah, and I won't be making a guide on how to install NVIDIA drivers until later down the line in the series. So yeah, so if you have NVIDIA, download this. If you have AMD, download this. So after you download everything, all you do, go to your file manager, go to downloads. Right here is Rufus. I guess I don't have popOS ISO. Apparently not. Apparently I only planned so far. So double click on Rufus, run as administrator. Yes. Click on the device. This is where you select your USB. So make sure to pick the right USB. Don't pick your drive. Don't pick your C drive. Don't accidentally do that, because if you do, it will make your actual storage device be the bootable for installing Linux. So make sure to pick the right USB. Unplug all the storage devices, unplug everything from your computer, and just have the USB that you want to have Linux on for your bootable on here. After you do that, once you select the device, select your ISO. So you click on this and you click on the ISO that you have downloaded. So your Windows 10 ISO, popOS ISO, all that. So you do that and you just click ready, start. That's all you do. And then it will start making a bootable USB of Linux. And then you just do the same thing on your second USB with Windows. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Now, next, what we need to do is boot into the BIOS and change a few things, because Windows has a secure boot enabled and it won't allow you to install certain Linux operating systems, which is great. Okay, so now I am booting into the BIOS. Oh, there it is. So right here in the BIOS, there's a few changes we'll have to make. Now, before you boot into the BIOS, make sure USB is plugged in for popOS or whatever Linux distro you decide pick. So what you first need to do is you need to go to security, you need to go to secure boot, you need to disable it. It says enabled right now, disable it. So once you disable it, it'll be fine. You can install Linux now. Now, the reason why you need to actually disable secure boot is because Microsoft has something which is a security measure, which will pretty much stop anything that is not verified by the Windows operating system from booting at all. So you want to disable secure boot, and then you want to go to settings, you want to go to boot, and you want to change boot option 1 to the USB you have plugged in with popOS or whatever Linux distro you have installed on the USB. So if you guys don't know where everything is, if you guys just don't know, you guys are confused where all these settings are that I changed, because your BIOS will probably be different, just saying, then all you need to do is look up the type of motherboard you have. I have an MSI. If you have an Acer, a Gigabyte, or whatever motherboard you have, or if you have a specific laptop like Acer, look up the model and look up where the settings are. Google is your friend, and that is something that you will have to be using consistently throughout this series. So after you do that, save changes and reboot. Yes, there we go. And then you will boot into Linux if you picked your boot options correctly. Okay, so while you boot into Pop, it will look like this. It'll look like you're a hacker. Now, yes, I am doing this in a virtual machine because, well, I already have Pop installed, so I don't need to install it again. So yes, now it will just run through everything, showing you that you look like a hacker, but you're not. You're just installing Linux. So yeah, if you want to make everyone think that you're a hacker, you just show them the boot sequence to popOS, and then you'll be good. So yeah, now it's just running through everything to load it into your RAM. It may take a few minutes, so just grab some water, grab whatever you need, just walk away from the computer for a little bit, and then it will boot into popOS, and then you can run the installation. Now, I have booted into popOS, and pleasant surprise, I think it's actually using their new desktop environment, which is great. No, this is not my IP address, by the way. This is a virtual environment, just so you're aware. Yeah, this is great. They have their own, their desktop environment finally is in the main version of popOS, which is great. Don't know how to customize it too well compared to GNOME, but I'll have to sit there and learn how. So, this is all you need to do. This window will pop up when you have popOS. So what you do is once you boot into it, this will pop up, or you'll have to click on the thing right here. Click on select, Click your language. Keyboard, just check it. Yep, it's working. Yep, default. Clean install. Click on that. Click on the right drive. There will be 2 here. I'm in a virtual machine, so there's only 1. But there will be 2 here. There will be your USB, and then there will be your drive. So here's the thing. If you pick the USB, it will wipe the USB you just made into a bootable media, and it won't work. Right here is the actual drive, which is this 50 gig. Erase and install. Now keep in mind, before you click this, make sure everything on your laptop is backed up. Make sure everything, all your game saves, all your pictures, all your videos, all your clips, everything, all the software you want to keep, all your passwords, everything is written down. Everything is backed up. Make sure everything is backed up. I have to emphasize this a lot to you guys. Make sure everything is backed up, because if not, everything will be gone once we click this red button. So we're gonna click the red button because screw Windows. Fluff you for banning my VPN. Boom. Oh, no, we have to create a user account, right? So right here you can click and there will be pictures. You can change this later in your settings here. But we're gonna call it puppy, because we're gonna do everything in a virtual machine for this series. Password, we're gonna do 1234. There we go. Encryption. Now, this is up to you. If you are on a laptop, I do recommend encrypting your drive, because people can access, like, take that drive out and access the data on it by booting into a live environment. So you see how we're in a live environment right now. This is a bootable USB with Linux on it. If I go here to files, I go to the 50 gig volume, I can see, look, this is the Linux drive. I could go to home. Oh, look, right here, hidden items. Oh, look, I can look in the drive. So make sure that you encrypt your drive. There is ways around so like, you saw how that folder was like, oh, hidden items. Yeah, it blocks stuff, but there's, of course, security vulnerability. There are security vulnerabilities, there are issues, there are hacks, there's stuff. So if you want to encrypt your drive and make sure no one else can access it, there is ways to get past the login menu. There's always vulnerabilities in computers. Encryption is your best bet. If you have a desktop and you have a nosy roommate, encrypt it. If you have a laptop, encrypt it, is my recommendation. However, even though you have better security, there is a downside, and that is decreasing your drive's performance up to 25%. If you have a slower drive, I would not recommend encrypting, because it can decrease the speed of your drive up to 25%, which is not good at all. If you have a desktop for gaming, I would not recommend encrypting unless you have nosy roommates. So yeah, it's whatever you want to do. This is a virtual machine, so I'm going to click don't encrypt. And now it will start installing. You can bring up this little terminal, look like you're hacking the NSA. I can't speak today, apparently. You can look like you're hacking the NSA. You can sit there and impress your roommates that you have this booted up, and it looks like you're hacking. Look at this. It looks like you're just breaking into a website, but you're not. You're not doing that at all. You're just installing Linux, and it looks hard, but in reality, it's really easy. This is a lot easier than you guys thought, didn't you? Like, you guys thought it was going to be like boot up a terminal, you know, enter in some stuff, you know, see the blinking light. Linux experience. Nah, popOS is pretty easy. And look, it's already installed. You just click on restart device or shut down, whatever you want to do, and that's all you do. And it's all installed. Okay, here we are back in popOS. Fully installed. Everything's good. Make sure you unplug your USB after you installed it, because you know how we went in the BIOS and everything. If you already booted back into the installer, don't panic. Just turn off your computer, unplug the USB, and then you could just go back into popOS and it'll be fully installed. So here we are in popOS. It's great. So there's a few things I want to go over before we end off the video. So you guys successfully installed popOS, but how do you update your system? How do you install stuff? All that stuff. So most distributions will have a store. Most, keyword most. So right here you can just download stuff like Discord, Telegram. Who the fluff uses Telegram anymore? Lutris. You can even search up things right here, and you can search up Steam right here and download Steam. But we're not going to go over this stuff right now. And really, I don't really recommend using the GUI because we're going to be using the terminal at some point soon. So right here, we can go install updates. This will show all the applications you have installed, and you can uninstall stuff and all that stuff. So yeah, there is something that I want to show though before we end off the video. And this is one of the reasons why I use popOS. Go to input devices, go to keyboard, scroll down to keyboard shortcuts. Click on this, and right here is the magic and power of popOS, and really just Linux in general, window tiling. So right here, you can look at all the different keyboard shortcuts, and you can change them. If you don't like any of these, like the workspaces, window stuff here, previous workspace and all that stuff, if you don't like how the keybinds are, or if you just want to change them, you can change them right here in keyboard shortcuts. You can even have custom shortcuts right here, which I'm not going to show in this video. I'll be showing them in future videos. But right here, you can have custom shortcuts for launching, let's say, Steam, Discord, music like Spotify, or your browser, everything. So it's really cool and actually really powerful. So hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, please like the button down below. Please subscribe if you're new around here. And in the next video, we'll be going over how to run Windows applications in Linux. It'll be fun. It'll be great. You'll be able to get some of your games working. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.